My name is Charlie, and I am an independent voter living in the state of Pennsylvania. I have voted for both Democrats and Republican in the same election. The last midterms, I voted Republican for Senate and Democrat for governor. And unfortunately, as someone who used to hate his guts, I have to eat my own words. Things have come to this point where I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm voting for Trump. And as of this time of recording, there are talks of Biden dropping out because of his infirmity. But really does not matter. No matter who the Democratic nominee, I'm going to vote for Trump. And you want to know why? Two reasons. I started to like Mr. Trump, and I am fed up with the Democratic Party. And I am looking to punish them. Let us start there. You guys must think that we are all stupid, or that we have the memory of a goldfish. How else can you account for this inartful, clumsy gaslighting to which you are subjecting us? I have been dismayed at the things that Democrats have been telling the public for these past few years that frankly makes no sense to me, especially the dictator talk. Oh, Trump is a threat to democracy, a danger to the republic. Members of mainstream media saying that this election might be our last, that Trump will never leave office if he is elected. Are you guys serious? Comparing Trump to Hitler, saying America is now headed towards a Christian theocracy, let's not kid ourselves. This is extremist rhetoric. Not only is this bereft of any attachment to reality, like a trigger warning, it also tends to create the very dangers it purports to forewarn. And that danger is a fissure in our system. This rhetoric that one half of the country wants to elect a dictator and that voting for you is the only way to save democracy, to me, has the same flavor as a closeted gay guy going off on homophobic rants. As in, I think you're projecting. But like a closeted gay guy saying something homophobic, you might not be aware that that's what you're doing. You might just be in denial. You might actually believe that you are saving democracy. But in denial, nevertheless, you are. And I think you are in denial because to accept the truth that you're hungry for power, that you are famished for dominion over the narratives that will make its way onto our history books, to accept that truth is to accept that you have become the very thing that you hate. You are a cliche in a superhero movie. In what universe would Trump become a dictator if he was elected? Not in this one. Well, here's the thing, okay? I do not believe that the election was stolen. Sounds to me like a kooky conspiracy theory. We've all gotten to know Trump's personality, right? He hates to lose or to admit fault. And so when he said that, I thought to myself, oh, this can't possibly be right, even before the courts ruled on this matter. In my opinion, it was a mistake for Mr. Trump to say that without definitive proof, just as Democrats, in retrospect, were wrong for saying Russian interference in 2016 swung the election in favor of Trump without having any actual proof to show for that incendiary contention. And I wish he would stop saying this. But here's the thing. They say that action speaks louder than words, right? You all remember when Trump was president. And I gotta tell you, what I saw was a far cry from the actions of a dictator. Think, for one, about his signature immigration policies. I remember when he tried to alter some of these federal regulations that raised the bar for green card applicants, the public charge rule, for instance. Under that rule, you would not have been eligible for a green card if you went on welfare as an immigrant and cannot support yourself. His administration went through the ordinary rulemaking process, the notice and comment period, and when challenged in the courts by state attorney generals of democratic states, his administration obeyed court orders to halt implementing his new rules. Same thing with the wall. In fact, even though much of his agenda was frustrated by litigation, as is the case with all modern presidencies, there was no single instance where his administration disobeyed a court order. Does that sound like a dictator to you? Do you have so little faith in our system of separation of powers and checks and balances that you actually think that Trump would rule for life? You're not living in the real world. And even as I make a distinction between speech and action and tell you that his past action does not indicate that he would become a dictator if he took office once again, I also question whether his speech, brash and populist as it may be, reflects the will of a dictator. Take January 6th, okay? You are all calling it an insurrection. And if Trump was a dictator in the making, that would have been the time for him to egg them on. Did he do that? Because what I remember was Trump releasing a statement, do not be violent. If you want to protest, do so peacefully. But then the media, even today, trying to hang Trump and Trump supporters vis-a-vis guilt by association. Do you disavow the actions of January 6th, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, you guys, give it a rest. Enough with this mass hysteria dictator talk. The public is not buying it. If Trump gets elected, he will leave after his term is up, and America will keep chugging along. It's not going to turn into North Korea. My God. How about this? If Trump gets elected and does not leave after 4 years, I will buy the first person to comment, "I told you so," a car, toy model. I challenge you to ask yourself whether this "vote for me or you'll get a dictator" talk is at least as damaging to the vitality of our system of government as saying the election was stolen. But the gaslighting does not just stop there. The Democratic Party has also been lying to us about Biden. Okay? So it was clear to me and a lot of folks from years back that Biden was not cognitively fit to hold office. How was it clear? Video footage. But what did we get for years from Democratic operatives? Oh, Biden is as fit as he ever was. He's Dark Brandon. He's Arnold Schwarzenegger after getting a pump in. It's Trump whose cognitive function is on the decline. What do we get from the media? The reason why you're thinking this might be because of ageism. The bias was clear. They were telling us for years, don't believe your own eyes. Oh, the crowd was not chanting F Joe Biden. They were saying, let's go Brandon. What do you call that? I don't know. Fake news? Hey, just a quick question. When did our news media lose its backbone and become the agitation and propaganda wing of the Democratic Party? Biden fumbling on the stairs of Air Force One or rambling incoherently? Oh, that's a cheap fake. Not a deep fake, but a cheap fake. It's real, but also not real, because it's taken out of context. Again, this is how little the Democratic Party thinks of the voting public. And then, after the most recent debate performance, when the obvious could no longer be denied without losing all credibility, the media's take is, oh, most recently, it seems like his health declined greatly. We should think about a new candidate. Are you serious? You let this drag on. Are you gonna take some responsibility for gaslighting the public for years up until shit hit the fan? Is any member of the media gonna get the sack after causing untold damage to the country by abusing the public's trust? Or what about Biden's handlers? No? Didn't think so. So, punishing the Democrats for this misbehavior, that's what I'm looking to do this election cycle. They think because they're opposing Trump, they can mistreat the voting public and get away with it. Nah. Treat us with respect. Don't treat us like we're stupid. Come November, I will vote a straight Republican ticket with Trump at the top. Funny thing about life, I would never have imagined saying something like this a few years ago. I probably wouldn't recognize my future self. I'd look at my future self and go, who the hell are you? But here we are. And so that leads me to talk about liking Trump. So here's the thing. When Trump first came onto the political scene in 2015, I hated his guts. I could not stand him. For years, I hated him. I was in college, I was young, inexperienced, and I could not understand why he was winning one Republican primary after another. And I was like, what do people see in him? I do not get it. And it took me a few years of living to realize, despite what I was being told over and over, what he's proposing, his agenda, it's not extreme at all. And that his rhetoric was only racist insofar as you projected racism into it. And why do that? Because you oppose his agenda. And then a few more years had to pass before I actually started liking him. So let me explain it to those of you who still don't see it, what I learned. First, with regards to his agenda that you consider to be extreme, you are editorializing. As in, there are ways to interpret that agenda to be rather plain, but you're injecting your belief system and hyperbole to make it sound extreme. Okay? Take child separation, for instance. When Trump began separating migrant children from their parents for detention, what do we hear? Oh, he's putting children in cages. That's what I also parroted mindlessly. But here's another way you could see it. When you break the law, you are subject to detention. And if you, the guardian, is under detention and there exists no one to take care of the minor, the state must step in and take custody of the minor. Happens all the time if you are a parent and you get arrested for a crime. Furthermore, if, because you're caught crossing the border with a minor, the government is then obliged to release you into the interior, that creates rather perverse incentive structure for minors to be used and abused as a human shield by some who only pretend to be the parents of the minors to get into the United States.